Hello and welcome to Using Microsoft Windows. Now before I get started, let me ask that you take a couple of seconds and zero your VCR counter. Jot down the numbers at each chapter break so you can easily review any part of this video. Windows 3.0 is an exciting visual environment that makes your work on a computer easier, and it works with most of the other applications you're already using. Now if you're familiar with DOS, you'll appreciate Windows' visual interface because executing DOS commands is now easier than ever. As you'll see, Windows icons are graphically displayed on the computer screen, so there's no guessing about the correct syntax to enter to get what you want. But Windows is more than an alternative environment to your operating system. It also contains an array of its own software applications. So, right now, I'm going to show you how to use Windows and the programs that come with Windows. Well, let's get started with Chapter 1. As a primary communications method, Windows uses graphic pictures called icons located on the electronic desktop. This visual environment is your method to interact with your computer. The icons represent your applications and tools to do your work on your computer. Windows lets you work with several programs at one time, and that means you can have several applications open on the screen in different windows at the same time. This means you don't have to stop one application and start another as you move from one application to another. Instead, the windows are kept open on the electronic desktop, enabling you to move back and forth. And finally, I think it's important to understand that Windows is able to do this because Windows has finally let you go beyond the prior limitations of DOS. That means if you have 16 megabytes of RAM memory on your computer, Windows will use every bit of it so that it can get the most out of the system. As far as installing the program, Windows now has a completely new intuitive setup procedure. The setup routine determines the processor type, the amount of memory available, and other equipment available. Windows optimizes itself to perform its best with what it finds. If you already have a previous version of Windows on your computer, version 3.0 will locate it and automatically update your Windows to your version 3.0. It's just as easy as inserting the number 1 setup disk into your floppy drive and typing in the word setup. Normally, a subdirectory called Windows is created during installation that stores the program files. And Windows will update your auto-exec.bat file, so the Windows subdirectory is automatically put in your path command. Also, the necessary number of files and buffers are set. Once the setup routine is finished, all you have to do is reboot your system, then type WIN at the DOS prompt and press the Enter key. Most of the commands in Windows are best performed with a mouse, and for my purposes it makes a good pointer to show you the things on the screen that I'll be referencing, but I'll be explaining some of the keyboard steps as I go along. There are 3 basic applications that make up the heart of Windows. The first is the Program Manager. This is the main command post of Windows. It's the place where all the other Windows applications are started. In fact, the first time you start Windows, the Program Manager window is open and the main group window is opened inside it. And the other window groups are represented as group icons down at the bottom of the Program Manager window. Depending on which applications were installed to run with Windows when you ran Setup, the Windows Applications Group window or the Non-Windows Application Group might not be shown on your screen. You see, the setup routine scans your hard disk and looks for Windows and non-Windows applications and automatically asks if you want these installed into the Program Manager's group of selections. You can install other groups or programs besides the ones that Windows finds for you. And Windows gives you a nice browse feature so you can go hunting for the executable file that will start your applications. You can even add an icon you choose to represent your added applications. Well, here I have the full complement of group icons that Windows gives me automatically. Also, when you start Windows, and depending on your equipment and how much memory you have available, Windows will automatically start in one of 3 modes. Basically, this means that Windows can start in what's called Real Mode, Standard Mode, or 386 Enhanced Mode. Now you can control which mode it starts in by typing in a slightly different startup command at the DOS prompt. For example, if I wanted to start Windows in the real mode, I would type in WIN/R. Now in an overview, real mode gives you maximum compatibility with previous Windows applications, and real mode will run on the older 8088 type PCs. So to run older applications on older computers, you would use this real mode. Standard mode is the normal operation mode, and it provides access to extended memory, and it lets you switch among non-Windows applications. This runs on 286s and can use any and all available memory. 386 Enhanced mode gives you the virtual memory capabilities that are unique to the 386 and the 486 microchip. This lets Windows applications use more memory than is physically available. Now this is where true multitasking takes place. That's where several different programs are operating simultaneously. Well, I've demonstrated how to get into the program, so for starters, let's see how to get out. You should always quit Windows from the Program Manager after you quit the other applications you're running. You can quit from the File menu or from the Control menu. Either way, the program will ask if you're sure you want to quit. And it gives you the opportunity to save the current layout of the Program Manager window. You see, if you save the current layout, the next time you start Windows, the same arrangement of windows will be opened, and all group icons and program icons will be in the same positions they were in the last time you quit. The next application that I consider fundamental to operating Windows is the File Manager. The File Manager shows you the basic structure of your disks with directory partitions in a tree view. Directories use a little file folder icon. If there's a plus in the folder, that means there are subdirectories inside this directory. Just click on the file folder and the subdirectories expand into view. This way you control the level of detail you want to see. You can open up any directory to see inside by double-clicking on the icon. Of course, this is true in all areas on the Windows desktop. Executable files and batch files get a little icon that looks like a little window that represents your way into those programs. From the File Manager, you can sort directories in different ways. You can display multiple windows and then move files between directories. And of course, you can copy, rename, or delete files, change their attributes, even create and delete entire subdirectories. One nice feature is that you can associate a certain data file with a certain application file. And then you can double-click on the data file and the controlling application starts. We'll be going into more detail on the File Manager in a few minutes. Right now I want to mention the third application that I consider to be the heart of the Windows operation, and that's the task list. Pressing the Control key and the Escape key will bring up the task list window, which lists all of the running applications, and it lets you immediately switch to the one you want. You can also use the Alt plus Tab keys, which takes you directly to the next application on the task list. From the task list, you can arrange your running applications in a tile format or in a cascade format. You can also close a particular application from here if you need to. In Chapter 2, I'll cover the commands to move around Windows. I'll also show you a few more fundamentals: the Control menu, the how to size, minimize, maximize, restore, and close application windows. Now let's focus on a few basics of the operation of the window. Common screen tools are used in all Windows applications. This makes it easy to learn and to use Windows. Okay, at the very top is the title bar. The title bar displays the name of the application you're using. Over here in the upper left-hand corner is the Application Control menu box. And in the upper right corner is the Maximize and Minimize box. Immediately below the title bar is the menu bar. To open a menu using a mouse, click on a menu title. A menu, which lists commands or options, drops down. To open a menu with the keyboard, press the Alt key. Notice the application control box for this pane is highlighted. Next is the File menu, which is highlighted if I press the right arrow key. To select it, press the Enter key or the underlined letter F. To select another menu, just press the underlined letter in the menu title. The drop-down menus appear by clicking on the different menu titles or by pressing the left and right arrow keys. Just below the menu bar is the Work area. The bottom part of the screen is the Icon area. This area is empty now, but as I open and minimize, or what I think of as iconize, other applications, you'll see how the icon area is used. Windows lets you keep several applications open simultaneously. Now, I'll demonstrate this by opening the clock application from inside the accessories group. This will also help illustrate the steps for operating Windows. Double-click on the clock icon. It's that easy. The clock application window appears on top of the Program Manager's window. The clock reads your computer's internal clock and reports the current time of day. Notice the title bar of the clock is highlighted. This indicates the clock is now the active window. Now, that means the commands and functions of this window are active. Let's adjust the size and the positioning of the window. In the upper left corner of the clock window is the Control menu icon. Every application window has a control menu. The control menu commands affect the status of the window. To open the control menu, click in the gray box. Using the keyboard, you would press and hold the Alt key and then tap the space bar. I'll move the clock now using the Move menu option. The letter M is underlined in the menu. Press M to activate the Move command. A four-headed arrow appears at the top. Then I'll use the keyboard arrow keys to move the window. When the window is positioned where I want it, I'll press the Enter key. To move a window with a mouse, point to the title bar, click and hold down the left mouse button, and then drag the window to its new position and release the mouse button. When using a mouse, you don't have to open the control menu. Also with a mouse, clicking anywhere inside the Program Manager window makes it the active window, and the clock window moves behind. The active window is always out front and highlighted. The Program Manager window is covering the clock window. Now, if you can see the window you want, just click the pointer inside the window you want to be active, or hold down the Control key and press the Escape key to access the task list window using the keyboard. I'll make the Program Manager window smaller to allow room for additional windows. One more time with the keyboard now. Open the Control menu, Alt plus Space bar, and press S for the size option. Now the size is changed by compressing one of the four window borders. I'll move the left border to the right. Press the left arrow key and a two-headed arrow is displayed. Now I'll press the right arrow key until the border is positioned where I want it. Then I'll press the Enter key to complete the resizing. To size boxes with a mouse, position the pointer right on a border or on a corner to move two borders at once. When the pointer changes to a two-headed arrow, click, hold, and drag the border to its new position and then release the button. Now you can see both the clock and Program Manager on the screen. One way to leave an application is called minimizing the application. Now, this is not the same as closing it. Minimizing an application means you're simply setting it aside while you work with other applications. Doing this conserves your available memory. Select Minimize from the menu. The Program Manager window shrinks into a small icon displayed in the icon area. Windows uses the icon area at the bottom of the screen as a holding area for applications that have been minimized. Each application has its own distinct icon. Here's the Program Manager icon. By clicking and dragging, you can move these icons around to arrange them however you want them. Instead of having to completely reopen and restart an application each time, just double-click on the icon to open that application window. To restore an icon or a window using the keyboard, activate the icon by pressing Alt and the Escape key. The window name will highlight on the icon, and then press Alt and the spacebar to open its control menu, and then select R for Restore. The window is now restored to its previous size and location. Let's minimize the clock using the mouse. Notice the up and down arrows in the upper right corner. These are the sizing buttons. Click on the downsizing icon button to minimize the clock. Actually, the clock continues to display the correct time even when it's just an icon. By the way, the clock can be selected to show time in the standard format or in the digital form. To restore the clock to its previous position, I'll double-click the mouse on the clock icon. Maximizing a window enlarges it to fill the entire screen. Now, you can open the control menu and press X for maximize. The window completely fills the screen. To restore a maximized window to its former size, open the control menu again and press R for Restore. With the mouse, maximize a window by clicking on the up arrow or maximize sizing icon. Notice the maximized window now has a sizing icon with 2 arrows pointing up and down. Clicking here restores the maximized window to its former size. The last command in the control menu is the Close command. Now, this command closes an application and frees up the memory. To close the clock window, I'll open the control menu and press C. But notice the Alt plus F4 key combination to the right of the Close command. This is a keyboard shortcut. To quickly close a window, just press the Alt key and F4, and the active window is closed. Each control menu command does have a few fast keyboard shortcuts. Memorizing these keyboard shortcuts might help you move even faster through Windows. To quickly close a window using a mouse, just double-click on the control menu icon. Closing the Program Manager, however, would end the Windows session. Now, this is the main command post of Windows, and it has to be open to run the other applications. In Chapter 3, I'll explain the File Manager menu commands. The File Manager icon looks like a little filing cabinet. Double-click on it, and it opens its operating window. The directory tree group is the most common command you'll probably use in this application. Here you can see all the active drives on your system. Above the subdirectory listing are the icons for each of the disk drives on the computer system. The icon for the current drive is highlighted. To change the drive, point the mouse arrow to the appropriate icon and click the left mouse button. This makes the selected drive the current or logged on drive. Always press the left mouse button unless otherwise indicated. To change the logged on drive using the keyboard, hold down the Control key and press the letter of the drive whose icon you would like to highlight. To expand a subdirectory, click on the File folder. To view a subdirectory, point to the directory name and double-click the mouse button. Now, I could use the arrow direction keys to highlight the directory and press the Enter key. Or I could press the first letter of the directory name, which will highlight it, and then I can press Enter. To the right of the disk drive volume name is the current logged drive and the DOS path name to the current subdirectory. If there's a parent directory, it will appear in the path name. To return to the Windows Tree subdirectory, I'll have to either choose Window from the upper menu and then select Directory Tree, or I could just close the window, listing the subdirectory's contents, or I could reduce it to an icon on the File Manager screen. And now I can save the File Manager settings that I've specified in the Options and View menus. It's the File Manager in particular that takes the place of a lot of DOS commands. In fact, the File Manager menu includes several of the DOS commands you're probably used to using, like copying files, making directories, formatting disks. Now, let's look at the File menu here in the File Manager. Although the basic structure of all the menus are the same, each application has a slight variation according to the needs of that application. Open is like pressing the Enter key for a file that's highlighted. The run command loads an application into memory and it starts it. Now the run option displays a dialog box asking for the file name of the application to be run. Whenever a dialog box is displayed, it means more information is needed to execute the command. Notice the option for minimizing. This minimizes the application to an icon as soon as it's started. Click on the box to activate it. The print command will attempt to send whatever file you specify to your printer. Of course, it should be some type of printable file, not an executable one. The associate command takes a common data file and associates it with the executable file that will make it run. Now, this way, you double-click on the file and it's loaded with the necessary program that it takes to run it. And the search command simply searches the disk for any file you ask to be searched for. In this next section are the move, copy, delete, and rename commands. The copy command copies files to a different directory or disk and makes a copy with a different name in the same directory. Now this works exactly like the DOS copy command, except that several files can be selected and then copied in a single step. For example, to copy several files, click on the first file to highlight it. Next, hold down the Control key and then click on the next file you want. Continue this process until all the files to be copied are highlighted, and then release the Control key and select the Copy command from the File menu. This brings up a dialog box listing the highlighted files, asking where to copy the files. I'll enter a B:/ for the B drive and click OK. Again, to remove a window box, click twice on the Control menu icon. You can't close the directory tree, however. You'll have to reduce it to an icon if you want it out of the way. The delete command works just like the copy command, only it deletes a selected file or group of files. Again, you can select multiple files using the Control key and highlighting the file names. To change the name of a selected file or files, use the rename command. The change attribute command lets you reconfigure how your file is stored on the disk. Next is the create directory command. Then the select all and deselect all. This is great for copying or deleting all of the files in a particular subdirectory. And finally, the exit command is like the close command in the Control menu. A message appears asking for confirmation to close. In the disk menu bar, there are commands that relate to disk operations. In the tree menu are the commands to expand and contract the subdirectories. In the view menu, you can select different ways to see the files. You can choose name, file details, other choices, and you can sort on the name, the type of file, or other choices. Include lets you further choose what you want to see. Replace on Open replaces the contents of the Active Directory window when you open a new directory. In the Options menu, you can arrange how your confirmation requests will or will not require confirmation. Also, there's case selections, whether you want the status bar displayed down here, and if you want the application to start off as an icon or in a window. And in the Window menu, you'll find ways to reshuffle the open windows into a tile view. You can click on a file and drag it into a different directory and then let go of it. A dialog box pops up asking if you do want to move that file. Now that's a neat feature. The Cascade view gives you another look, or you can choose to refresh the current window. I can also close all of the open directories from here. And all I have left is the original directory tree. Over here in Help, I can find help on any topic, and I can also find the version number and copyright information. This box also tells me how Windows is operating on the system. If you loaded the program in the real or standard mode, that information will be indicated here. You can also see how much memory is available. In Chapter 4, I'll be covering some more Windows basics, and then I'll show you the calculator and calendar programs. Windows classifies applications into two categories: standard or other applications, and Windows applications. Other applications are designed to run under the DOS environment. Versions of Lotus 123 and WordPerfect are examples. Windows applications are especially designed to take advantage of the special features of the Windows environment. All the applications that came with your Windows software are Windows applications. When you're operating under the enhanced mode and there's not enough memory for all the applications, Windows decides which part of the application currently are being used and thus allocates memory accordingly. Windows places the unused parts of a current program on a portion of the hard drive. And this becomes a swap space for switching needed parts of the application in and out of the memory. This swap space is called the virtual memory. Virtual memory is what allows Windows to run several applications at the same time. Okay, now to start the calculator application, double-click on the calculator icon. There are two versions of the calculator available: standard and scientific. Remember, when an application is first opened, it's always the active window. To use the calculator with a mouse, just click on the numbers and mathematical symbols, or you can enter the numbers and symbols from the keyboard. The numbers are displayed in the box at the top. The Edit menu lets you exchange data between applications. The Copy command copies the numbers in the display area to the clipboard for use in other applications. And then the Paste command brings in a figure from the clipboard. I'll clear the calculator now and select the Paste option. The total on the clipboard is pasted back into the calculator. Before opening the calendar program, I will minimize the calculator window. The calendar application is kind of like a desktop calendar and appointment book. It's great for scheduling appointments and reminding yourself of important deadlines. Calendar opens to a screen resembling a page out of an appointment book. Now, the current date and time are displayed at the top. The blinking line is the insertion point. This indicates where text will be entered. You can click next to where you want the insertion point. To move the insertion point with the keyboard, press the arrow key. Now I'll type meeting. To include some notes about the meeting, I'll click in the scratch pad. To leave the scratch pad, click back in the main area. Now, I'll open the File menu. Now, the new command opens a new calendar file. The Open command opens a previously created calendar file. The Save and Save As commands save a calendar file. The Print command makes a printout of appointments. The Remove command removes a range of dates from the computer's memory. Now, this is a quick way to remove old information and keep plenty of room on the computer's disk for new dates. Just like their counterparts in the calculator application, the Exit command quits calendar, and About calendar displays program information. Calendar's Edit menu has familiar commands: Cut, Copy, and Paste. I can use the Cut command to move a rescheduled appointment to the clipboard, and the Paste command to re-enter it on another date. Now, these commands are light gray now because the clipboard is empty. The View menu switches the screen view between a single day, as you're seeing here, or a whole month. Appointments are only displayed in the day view. Now, when you first open Calendar, it'll be in the day view. The Show menu lets me move to different dates for entering appointments. The Today command returns me to the current day or month, depending on which view I'm in. The Previous command takes me to the previous day or month. The Next command takes me to the following day or month. The Date command takes you to a specific date. I can enter the date in the dialog box, click OK, and I'm there, ready to enter my appointments for that day. Whenever there's more information than appears in the window, a scroll bar is displayed. The scroll bar on the calendar application lets you quickly scroll through months and years. Now, I'll use calendar to set an alarm as a reminder for 9 a.m. meeting. Move the insertion point to 9 o'clock, and from the alarm menu, select the Set command. A small bell icon appears indicating the alarm is set. The Options menu has commands to customize the calendar. The Mark command places a small box around selected days in the calendar view. The Special Time command lets you enter an appointment time not listed on the calendar, like 12:20. The Day Settings command changes the time intervals on the calendar window. The default setting is at 60-minute intervals. Clicking on the desired circle would change this setting. 12 is the default hour format. 24 is also an option. The starting time interval can also be changed. Let's save this calendar file. Since this file hasn't been named yet, I'll use the Save As command in the File menu. Name the calendar file something you'll recognize, such as MyCal, and then click OK. Now let's minimize the calendar. I could double-click on this icon to open the MyCal calendar. In Chapter 5, I'll look at the Cardfile and the terminal applications. The Cardfile application works a lot like an index card filing system. Information is entered on each card. Windows files the cards in alphabetical order. The information on the cards can then be merged, sorted, even printed. Click once on the Cardfile icon. This Cardfile window displays a blank card with a double line across the top. This double line is the index line. Cardfile uses the information entered above the index line to file the cards alphabetically. Click on the File menu. The commands New, Open, Save, and Save As are the same commands found in most of the other Windows applications. I'll click on Open to open a previously created card file. A dialog box appears asking for the name of the card file to be opened. Now notice all the card files have a .crd file extension. The path line tells Windows where to look for the file. Windows is currently looking in the Win subdirectory. If the card file was on a floppy disk in the A drive, I would click on a different subdirectory if that was where the file was that I wanted. The path line reads A:, telling Windows to look for the card file in the A drive. With a keyboard, use the Tab key to move around in the dialog box. Let's click on C. And here's the file. Double-click on the file name, and that file opens. These cards are filled with previously entered information. The last name is listed first in the index line, so the cards will be alphabetized by last names. Let's click on the File menu. The Print command prints only the card at the front of the file. The Print All command prints all the cards in an entire file. Page Setup and Printer Setup are the same for almost all of the Windows menus, and I'll cover those commands in more detail later. The Merge command combines two files of card information and sorts the results. And of course, the last command, Exit, should be familiar. In the Edit menu, the Undo command lets me undo the last action or command. For instance, if text is accidentally deleted, click Undo, and it'll reappear. We've seen how cut, copy, and paste work. Remember, cut removes the text and places it in the clipboard. Copy leaves the text and places a copy of it in the clipboard, and paste always puts the text from the clipboard to where the cursor is blinking. The Index command is used to add or change text on the index line of the card. The Restore command restores the front card to its last saved version, in case you make a change you're not happy with. Restore only works, though, if you haven't made any saves of the file, since you've made your last unwanted changes. Text and pictures can be placed on the cards. The text option is the default setting. To add a picture, click on the Picture option. An example of this could be placing scanned pictures of employees in a personnel card file. The View menu changes the way the information appears on the screen. The Cards option is the default setting. The List view displays a list of the information on the index lines. To add another card, I'll select Add from the Card menu. A blank card appears on top. The blinking line indicates it's ready to receive information. Double-click in the index line, and now I can enter information here. Back in the Card menu, the Delete command deletes the card at the front of the file. The Duplicate command makes a copy of the front card. If you have a modem hooked up to your computer, you can use the Auto Dial command to dial a phone number listed on the front card. The Search menu lets you search through the cards for particular information. The Go To command locates a specific card. Type the name on the index line of the card to be located and click OK. That card moves to the front. The Find command searches for the text in the body of the cards. Type the text to be found in the dialog box. Cardfile finds the text and highlights it. The Find Next command will find the next occurrence of the specified information. By the way, every open application takes up memory, so it's a good idea to close applications that won't be used again for a while. Double-clicking on the Control menu button is the quick way to close a window. Terminal is a simple communications application that can connect your computer to other computers or to online information services such as stock reports and library services. Using a modem, information can be exchanged between a variety of computer networks. Basically, a modem sends and receives information over a telephone wire. Now, if you want to subscribe to an online communication service, there are lots of communication network services and online database services available. In fact, you can even send a Western Union telegram right from your computer. You know, I found telecommunications to be invaluable in sending what's called electronic mail or email to editors and colleagues. Operating the terminal application depends a lot on who you're connected to or the services you subscribe to and the type of modem you have. The operating manual for your modem contains information you'll need to run the terminal application. But to open Terminal, as usual, just double-click on the icon in the Accessories group. The Terminal window has the standard menu bar, and the work area is blank. Many of the commands in the File and Edit menus are consistent with the other Windows applications. The files are set up and saved in Terminal to contain the communication settings for the particular telephone number that you install and the discrete connections or services for that number. The New command opens a new terminal file, and Open opens an existing terminal file. To save terminal settings, use the Save or Save As command. The Edit menu lets you copy, paste, or send files. Use the Copy command to copy selected text from the online services into the clipboard. The information can then be pasted into the Notepad of the Write program, say perhaps for use in a report. The Paste command places text from the clipboard into Terminal. To send out a message or information, just select Send, which sends selected text once you're connected. It's a good idea to create the text beforehand, know the file name, and then send it out. This way you're not paying for connect time while you're typing or entering information. The Select All and Clear Buffer commands help you select and clear what you see in your terminal buffer screen. Over in the Settings menu are all the commands to select the phone number I need and the other settings I need to connect to that number. Before I can connect, I need to specify the type of hardware I'm using and the communication parameters of the receiving system, and then save the terminal settings. Windows adds the .trm extension when you save a terminal file. I'll enter the terminal immolation and preference settings in these dialog boxes. Default settings are highlighted in the box, but always consult the service's user guide for the exact information. The communication command displays a dialog box asking for specific settings to transmit the data. The baud rate is the speed at which the information is transferred. This depends on the baud rate of your modem. Baud rate, data rate, stop bits, parity, and flow control depends on your modem and the service you're connecting to. The connector setting tells the terminal application which port the modem is connected to. Parity check and carrier detect can be turned on by checking their boxes with the mouse. The phone command is where you dial or hang up on a number, and the transfers menu is where you can send, receive, or view text files and send and receive binary files. You can also pause, resume, or stop the process of sending or receiving data. And of course, there's always help. Well, now let's look at more applications that I know you're going to want to be able to get up and running. In this next chapter, I'll show you the Notepad and clipboard applications. I'll also show you the printing application called the Print Manager. Notepad is a simple text word processing application for creating and editing small text files. Notepad doesn't have the features of a full-blown word processing program, but is great for creating notes, short letters, memos. Actually, it holds only about 50K of data. That's about 5 pages or so. Notepad produces plain, unformatted ASCII text that can be saved and imported into any other word processing program. Open is located in the Accessories group window. Now, the commands in the menu should be getting pretty recognizable by now. Click on Open to a previously saved file. The Open dialog box appears listing the text files in the current path. Notepad adds the extension .txt when you save a file here. Actually, Windows assigns various file extensions to the files you create depending on what program you're in. For example, calendar files have a .cal extension, and Notepad files have a .txt extension. When opening files, Windows lists the files with a usual file extension for that application. This way, the calendar files aren't mixed in with the terminal files. Here's the file I want. I'll click on the file name and OK, and this text file appears on the screen. The blinking line or cursor appears at the top of the text file. Press the up and down arrow keys to move the cursor up or down one line. Press the left and right arrow keys to move one space to the left or to the right. To quickly jump to the end of the text, hold down the Control key and press the End key. To move the cursor to the beginning of the text, hold down the Control key and press the Home key. I'll add some finishing lines to my memo. To fix the typo, press the backspace key to delete the character to the left of the cursor. To fix a misspelling in an earlier line, I'll use the arrow keys to move the cursor to the error. Press the delete key to delete characters in front of the cursor, and then type in the correct spelling. To delete a block of text, hold down the Shift key and press the right arrow key to select the text block. Or, with the mouse, hold down the mouse button and drag the mouse, highlighting the desired text, and then press the delete key, and the text is gone. The first command in the Edit menu is Undo. By selecting Undo, the last command is canceled and the delete text is back on the screen. Now, this is great when something is accidentally deleted. I'll copy the top part of this memo to the clipboard. First, I need to select the text to be copied. Now, the cursor is at the top, so I'll hold down the Shift key and press down the arrow key to quickly select a whole line at a time. Now, select the Copy option from the Edit menu, and the text is copied to the clipboard. Select All selects all the text in the file. This is useful if an entire file is to be copied to the clipboard. Choosing the Time Date command inserts the time and the date into your note at the cursor position. The word wrap command will automatically start a new line when the text reaches the right margin. While many word processing programs have automatic word wrap, with Notepad you must select the word wrap command to activate this feature. A check appears before the word wrap command when it's turned on. The search menu lets you search for certain words in a file. Click on the Find command. In this dialog box, I'll tell Notepad to search for the word company. Now click OK, and the first occurrence of the word is highlighted. From here, you could edit or delete the word. To find the next occurrence, select the Find Next command. I'll continue selecting Find Next until every occurrence of the word has been highlighted. Some text files are just too big to be viewed in whole on the screen. I can use the Page Up and Page Down keys to move different parts of the text file into view. Of course, with the mouse, the scroll bar on the right lets you scroll through the text file. A Notepad file is limited to about 8 pages, but a warning message will appear if this limit is being approached. Now, if this happens, a large text file can be pasted into the Microsoft Write application and finished there. Now I'll open the Clipboard application and see if that text I copied is still there. First, I'll go back to the Program Manager and then double-click on the clipboard icon, currently located in the Main Group window. Now, by the way, you can move the different program icons among the different group windows. The clipboard window appears as the active window on top of Notepad, and the text copied from the memo is displayed. Clipboard is the method for data exchange between all Windows applications. As you've seen by now, nearly all of the applications have the cut, copy, and paste commands. All you do is cut or copy the text or graphic from the first Windows application and then paste it into the second application. Now, this is another advantage of using Windows applications. In the days before Windows, transferring data across applications could be difficult because of all the different user interfaces and file formats. The information placed in the clipboard application remains there until something else is put in its place or the Windows session is closed. The word text appears below the title bar, indicating the type of information stored in the clipboard. Let's close Clipboard. Now remember, the information will remain even if the window is closed. Now, the Notepad application is the active window again. I'll print the memo to activate the Print Manager. The Print Manager provides a spooler, or a place that Windows reserves in memory for documents to be stored and then printed. Using the Print Manager, you can go on to other applications without waiting for your printing to be completed before you can do your work. The Print Manager is typically not accessed unless you need to check on something. Several files can be sent to your printer for printing. Now, I can look at the printing queue in the Print Manager window. The menu command lets you pause and resume printing tasks. The priority choice in the Options menu lets you specify how fast you want to print. The Print Manager application is almost like having two computers, because after the printing information is sent to the spooler, you can continue to work in another application. In this next chapter, I'll explain the Microsoft Write word processing application. Microsoft Write is a word processing application similar in many ways to Notepad, but offering some of the features of the more advanced word processing programs. Because Write runs under Windows graphic-based environment, Write displays your document on screen exactly as it will look when it's printed. Now, different typefaces and sizes will show on the screen, giving you added design capabilities. Write's opening screen contains the same tools of many Windows applications: the title bar, scroll bar, and sizing icons. The marker at the top of the work area indicates the end of a document. The blinking line is the insertion point, or cursor. The lower left corner displays the page number. The first 5 commands in the File menu, New, Open, Save, Save As, and Print, are similar to the File menu commands in other Windows applications. I'll open a previously created file. The dialog box for opening files looks the same from application to application. Now, Windows looks for files ending in the extension .wri and displays them in the list box. The open file appears in the work area. To select a printer, use the Printer Setup command back in the File menu. The Repaginate command divides the document into pages, displaying two small arrows at the end of each page. This way you can see where pages end before printing. Many commands on the Edit menu also appear in other Windows applications. The Undo command reverses the last action. Now, you've seen how cut, copy, and paste work. Notice Paste is dark because, remember, there is text in the clipboard that I could paste right in here. I'll select Paste, and the text copied earlier from the Notepad is placed on the screen. The pasted data is placed at the cursor position, pushing the text down. The Move Picture command moves the picture horizontally on a page. You can use the mouse or the left and right arrow keys to move the picture. The Size Picture command sizes the picture, again using the mouse or the arrow keys. The first three search menu commands let you search for the text, change it to something else if specified, and then continue searching for more occurrences of the text. The Go To Page command goes directly to the specified page in a document. The Character menu is a list of commands for changing the appearance of the text characters. Normal is the default character style. Bold, italic, underline, superscript, and subscript let you change the style of selected text. To apply a different text style, move the cursor in front of the words to be altered. Hold down the Shift key and press the right arrow key to select the text. With a mouse, just click and hold before the word and drag across to select the text. Now, go up to the Character menu and click on Bold and Italic. The text is redrawn on the screen in bold, italicized type. The last three groups of commands are for fonts. Fonts refer to the style and size of the typeface. The names of the three fonts appear on the menu. The check indicates it's the current font. To change the font, select the text and click on the new font name. If your printer offers more than three fonts, click on the Fonts command to see the rest of the fonts available. Selecting one of these fonts will move it to the Character menu. Most fonts have at least two sizes. The Paragraph menu lets you change the format or the look of a selected paragraph. The checks indicate the default paragraph format choices: left, aligned, and single-spaced. Left aligned means the text is lined up evenly on the left margin. I'll center the heading by selecting the text and clicking on the Centered command. The right command moves the selected text to the right margin. Select the body of the text using the down arrow key, which highlights a whole line at a time instead of just one character. Now, if I click on Justified, the text margins are even on both sides. I'll also change the spacing of the body text. The paragraphs are still selected, so I'll click on the Double Space command. Use the Indents command to indent a whole paragraph from the left or the right margin, or just to indent the first line. The last menu is the Document menu. Here, the Header command puts a line of text, such as chapter title, at the top of each page of a document. The Header command takes you to a blank screen where you enter the header text and determine the distance from the top of the page where the header will be placed. To add page numbers, just click on the Insert Page Numbers button. The correct page number will appear when printed. Click on the Print on First Page button if you want to print the header or the page number on the first page. Return to Document takes you back to the text file. Headers and footers don't appear on the screen, but they'll be there when the document is printed. Footers are a line of text at the bottom of every page. Footers are created on a separate screen, just like headers. The Ruler On command displays a ruler at the top of the window. If you're using a mouse, the icons across the top can set tab stops and adjust the line spacing and the alignment of selected paragraphs. For example, to return the body text to single spacing, I'll select the text and click on the icon depicting single-spaced text. To set a tab stop, click on the first arrow icon and then click on the position in the ruler bar. To clear a tab, click on the tab indicator on the ruler line and drag it off the line. The second arrow icon contains a decimal point to indicate it sets a decimal aligned tab stop. Select Ruler Off to remove the ruler from the window. If you aren't using the ruler line, the Tabs command here lets you set up tab stops. Plus, here you can clear all of the tabs. The Page Layout command lets you change the margin settings and the page numbering. Unless specified otherwise, Write starts numbering pages with page 1. I'll be coming back to Write soon, so I'll click on the down arrow sizing button to minimize this window and turn it into an icon. In this next chapter, I'll look at the Microsoft Paint application. I'll try to draw something, and then I'll go back and insert my drawing in the Write program by merging text and graphics. If you've never worked with a graphics program before, you'll be amazed at all the great-looking graphics that can be created with Paintbrush. Graphics are created on an electronic canvas using electronic screen tools, like a text tool, an eraser, a paintbrush, a line tool, a solid tool, and a lot more. Paintbrush is a color bitmap painting and editing program that includes curved and straight lines, a paint roller, as well as an airbrush, and polygon tools. You can select foreground and background colors from the palette of colors. And Paintbrush files are saved with the .bmp or .pcx file extensions, which makes them compatible with a lot of other applications. The work area is divided into the canvas, which is the drawing area, and the toolboxes. To choose a tool, simply click on a tool. To begin drawing, move the tool you've selected into the work area and place it where you want to start drawing, and then press and hold the mouse button. The width of the lines can be changed by clicking on the Line Width command down here. Notice the arrow indicates the new thicker line width. The Curve tool creates curved lines. First, draw a straight line, and then click and pull on the line to curve it. And now I'll select Brush. By the way, the brush shape can be altered using the Brush Shapes command in the Options menu. The airbrush creates a spray-painted look with the currently selected color. To erase mistakes, use the Eraser tool. Move to the parts to be removed and press the mouse key to erase. Careful though, the eraser will remove whatever it touches. There are different tools you can choose to select to erase images. There's the plane eraser, and then there's the color eraser. The plane eraser changes the drawing area you choose to the background color. The color eraser changes the portion of the foreground color to the background color, or changes every occurrence of one color to another color. To select sections of a graphic, use the Scissors tool or the Pick tool. This Scissors tool is a free-form line that you can draw around an object and then move or copy or delete, like a cutout. To erase this selected area, click on the Cut command in the Edit menu, and it's gone. The Scissors tool selects non-rectangular shapes. Draw around the shape while holding the mouse key to select it. But the Pick tool draws a rectangular shape, which is usually quicker. This row of geometric shapes draws the same shapes as their counterpart over here, but fills them in with the current color selected. So if I click on this box-looking icon and then move the tool down into the work area and position the cursor for the top left corner, and then hold down the mouse button and drag it, I can draw. I can draw a square or a rectangle. This is the polygon. It's for drawing shapes with straight sides. Just move the crossbar cursor and click the mouse button to mark destinations. And as soon as you click on the point where you started, the polygon is closed and the line width you've selected is drawn in. You can fill shapes with the Fill tool, which looks like a paint roller. Move the icon's pointer inside the shape and click, and the shape is filled with the current paint color and pattern. The ABC is the Text tool. Adding text to a graphic is easy. Just select the Text tool, click where you want the text to begin, and start typing. There are several selections up in the menus for choosing a font and the size of the font you may want. The Scroll tool lets you move the canvas around in the work area. The canvas is actually quite large. Click on the Zoom Out command to see just how big it is. The current drawing area is outlined. You cannot, however, draw with the tools in this full view. Click on Zoom In to return to normal size. In addition to these tools, there are menu commands to help enhance and edit your graphic drawings. The File menu selects a new canvas, opens an existing graphic file, and prints in the graphics. The Undo command in the Edit menu cancels the most recent drawing or editing action. You can cut, copy, and paste graphics just as I've done with text in other applications. From the View menu, you've just seen me zoom in and out to show more of the picture. I can select to view the whole picture, or I can remove the Tools and Line Size menu or the Palette menu at the bottom. And down here, I can put my cursor position status in a little box on the screen. That way, I can always know exactly where my cursor is. In the Font menu, I can choose fonts, and in the Style menu, I can choose how those fonts are going to appear. The Size menu lets me pick different font sizes, so the process would be to select a new font, and then select the style, then select the size. The font, the style, and the size can be changed after the text has already been entered, if the insertion cursor for that text is still in the screen. Many more fonts are available in the Paintbrush application than in Microsoft's Write word processing program. Paintbrush fonts are created as graphic images, whereas with Write, the font range depends on the printer. Keep in mind that since they are graphic images, they can't be edited like text after they're pasted into a document. The Pick menu command comes into play when you use the scissor tools that I talked about a minute ago. Now, once you've defined a section of a drawing, here you can flip it in one direction or another, inverse it, shrink it, grow it, tilt it, or if you want to replace what you originally outlined, select Clear, which clears away the former version. Without Clear selected, the old part of the drawing is left in the work area. In the Option menu, you can set the image attributes. Now that's the size of the image area, the units of measure, and whether you want color or black and white. The Brush Shapes command I've already shown you. The Edit Colors command will let you actually select graduations of intensity to establish your own custom color palette. And then with the Get or Save Colors command, you can save specific colors and then retrieve them. I'm going to open a file containing a previously created graphic and place it in a Microsoft Write document. This graphic was drawn using Paintbrush. Now I'll need the Scissors Pick tool to select the drawing, and now click on Cut from the Edit menu, and the graphic is cut and placed on the clipboard. Earlier, I minimized the Microsoft Write window. Now I'll double-click on the icon and restore the window. The document is still there. Now I'll position the insertion point exactly where I want the graphic to appear. Choose Paste from the Edit menu, and the artwork is pasted into the document. Now I can resize and move the graphic as necessary. From the File menu, select Save As and name this file New Doc. Write adds the .wri extension automatically. And now I'll double-click on the Control menu icon of Write and Paint to quickly close both applications. What if Windows is not set up exactly for my computer or arranged exactly the way I'd like it? Well, I'll show you how you can make some changes in the next chapter. In Chapter 9, I'll discuss customizing Windows using the Control application. control panel menu commands let you customize certain aspects of Windows to better suit your individual needs. The control panel alters what's called the Win Any file. Here you can control the network, the printer, and font configurations, and you can customize the way Windows looks, such as the colors for different parts of the environment, various patterns for the Windows background. To open the control panel window, double-click on the control panel icon. To change the time, simply click on the hour, minute, or second setting. Up and down arrows appear in the box, clicking on the up arrow to advance the clock and the down arrow to set it back. Changing the date works like changing the time. The mouse icon lets you modify how quickly your mouse tracks or how quickly you have to double-click the mouse button in order for Windows to recognize it as a double click. After adjusting the speed with the scroll box, you can double-click and see if you can highlight the test box to verify the choice. You can even switch the left button for the right mouse button in case you're left-handed. The printer icon command displays a dialog box where I can select from our previously installed printers, or I can choose to add a new printer by selecting this option. The program contains driver files for many popular printers. The delete printer command removes the printer from the list of available printers. The steps for adding new fonts are similar to adding a new printer, but you may need to insert the appropriate disk with the font file. Select the file and click on the Add button. Use the delete fonts to remove unwanted font files from the disk. And you can alter the look of the desktop by selecting different patterns or wallpapers for the background. You can select different ports, change keyboard settings, or completely change what language and style of date and currency, depending on what country you live in. And finally, as you've seen, the exit command closes the control panel. Now, back in the main window group selection, click on the Setup. Here you can modify certain settings of your computer system. This modifies what's called the sys_ini file. Let me refer you to your Logic Notes companion booklet to this video to help you carefully examine the setup and control panel configurations available. With all the possible choices, you'll want to experiment with just how you want your Windows screen and application to look. Now let's take a look at running programs other than Windows applications. In this final chapter, I'll look at running applications like Works or WordPerfect or Ventura Publisher, but from inside Windows. There are lots of advantages to running standard applications under Windows. First, under Windows Virtual Memory System, the hard disk becomes an extension of the computer's RAM or random access memory. Simply put, this means Windows provides access to more of your computer's memory. Second, Windows is still in the memory when a standard application is running, giving you the ability to switch back and forth between the standard applications and Windows applications. Finally, other programs and Windows applications can exchange information using the clipboard. Before Windows can run a non-Windows application, it needs to know a few things about that application. Typically, during the installation process or when you run the Setup Applications program from the Setup Command program, applications are recognized and added to your non-Windows applications window. This way, the necessary data for what's called its PIF file are already created. This information is in fact stored in a Program Information File, or PIF file. Should you need to, you can create or edit a PIF file. To create a PIF, double-click on the PIF Edit icon. The PIF Editor window opens ready for information. PIFs for my other applications have already been created and saved in the Windows subdirectory. To view these files, click Open on the File menu. If you installed Windows version 3.0 over a previous version of Windows, the old program information files are stored over in a PIF subdirectory. Let's click on Works.pif. The Editor dialog box fills with the information to run the integrated program called Microsoft Works. The top line displays the file name that runs the program. The second line, the program title. The startup directory is the drive and directory where the program files are stored. For computer programs that don't have a built-in PIF file, you may want to refer to Chapter 12 in your software manual for PIF information. You can set up a new application if you simply highlight the window where you want it, and then select New in the File menu, and then fill in all the required data. You can provide the description that will appear in the non-Windows application window. Enter the command line that will open the application, and then choose the icon that will accompany that choice. The choices actually give you the ability to select entire program groups as well. Now, let's open the Works program. Once on screen, Microsoft Works looks and operates the same as always, but with the extra benefit of returning to Windows when the program is exited. And now you can switch applications with a couple of keystrokes. You can open any application and run it in the Windows environment if it's been set up properly. Now that you've been introduced to the world of Windows, you're ready to start applying that knowledge and operate Windows 3.0 to its fullest. You've looked at the Windows applications that are supplied as part of the Windows package. From the clock to the Paintbrush application, Windows has a variety of programs for your various needs. And now that you're acquainted with Windows, operating other new and upcoming Windows applications will be a snap, right? Windows is indeed the beginning of a new generation of software offering a graphic environment with consistent, easy-to-learn commands and the ability to operate multiple applications simultaneously. Well, you can review this program as often as you like. So with that in mind, I know now that you have what you need to get up and running. Have fun with Windows. So long, and thanks for joining me. Good luck. Bye-bye.